If you guys are excited for Call of Duty World War II and want a chance to win a copy of the game when it releases later this fall, all you need to do is leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on channel notifications, and leave a comment down below. After you've done all that, you're entered to win a copy of Call of Duty World War II on your console of choice later this year. Yo, what's up guys? What is going on? Zach or Immortal here. Thank you guys so much for stopping by another video. Hopefully you guys are all having a great day today. Today, we are going to be going over the 10 division class setups that we've seen so far from Call of Duty World War II. These pictures actually surfaced the other day over on Reddit. I wanted to take a look and dissect all of these different class setups, or division setups I should say, because that is what they are now called, and just run down each of them. So we're going to run through 2 infantry, 2 airborne, 2 armored, 2 mountain, and 2 expeditionary division setups. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in. Slap a like on this video if you guys are excited for World War II, and let's go ahead and let's get into it. So we're starting off here with the Infantry 1 setup. It's focusing around the M1 GARAND, and the first thing you guys notice, obviously, there are no perks. That has all been replaced by division skills, division training, and basic training. So let's go ahead and dissect this division setup. So this guy, as you can see, has the division skill bayonet charge, which we actually saw a little bit of in the multiplayer reveal trailer. There was a quick clip where a guy was charging an opponent with a bayonet, stabbed him right in the gut, and then turned to pull out a flamethrower and incinerate some of his other enemies. So we've actually seen a little bit of gameplay from this, but the description of the bayonet charge division skill is as follows. Special training on the use of the bayonet makes infantry riflemen a threat at all ranges. While sprinting, press R3 to activate. So you'll just push in your right stick and you'll be charging enemies with a bayonet. Pretty cool if you ask me. I'm excited to finally see a bayonet attachment in a Call of Duty game. Then we have our division training setup, which is Infantryman 3. So it looks like there will be different tiers of the division training. Obviously, you'll probably start at, for instance, Infantry 1, and as you level up and as you progress through this division training, you'll gain tiers. So Infantryman 1, Infantryman 2, Infantryman 3. That's kind of a tongue twister, not gonna lie. Anyways, the description of Infantryman 3 says you get 2 extra attachments on a primary weapon and 1 attachment on the secondary weapon. Then in an italicized text underneath that, it says exceptional care of their weapons allow these fighters to outgun the rest. I'm not really sure what exactly that's supposed to mean, but it's there, so obviously it means something. And then we move down to the basic training section of this division setup. I keep on calling it the basic training perk, but I know one kid in the comments is going to be so upset if I use the word perk at all, because they really focused on the fact that perks aren't a thing anymore. So the steady basic training attachment on this class setup says you are immune to shell shock and tactical equipment, and you can also sprint for longer distances. The italicized text on this says dependable in battle, your squad knows you will make it through the barrage. So, once again, not really sure what it means. I guess these are just sort of like quotes on what exactly this specific basic training item will do, or this specific division training item will do to help out your squad. That's what I guess I'm getting from it as of right now. Then moving over, you guys can see the actual weapon setup he has. His primary is the M1 Garand. He's got high caliber weapon grip, advanced rifling, and quick draw on it. So he's got 4 attachments on this. Then he's got the 1911 with extended mag as a secondary, and he's also got the Mark II fragmentation frag grenade to round up this division's setup. Now we can move on to the Infantry 2 division setup. This one is focusing around the bar. Now you guys can see some similarities between this one and the Infantry 1 setup. I'm not going to run over the things that we've already talked about, for instance, the division skill of bayonet charge, but there are a few new things on this setup as well. The first being his basic training, which is Hunker. This reveals enemy equipment and takes less explosive damage. So it's almost like they combined Flak Jacket and Hardwired to make one perk that called not perk, my bad, basic training, whatever you want to call it, attachment. It's not a perk, I swear to God, it's not a perk, but basically it's Hardwired and Flak Jacket combined to make Hunker. The italicized text on this one says a Flak Jacket and keen perception mean enemy explosives don't worry you. So like I just mentioned, Flak Jacket mixed with Hardwired. Then moving over to his weapon setup, he's got the bar with the niter sight, the weapon grip, advanced rifling, and quick draw for his secondary. He's got the Luger with advanced rifling, and for his equipment, he's got the M18 smoke grenade to finish out his division setup. Now we move on to a new division, that being the Airborne division. This one is focused around the M1928. His division skill on this setup is Suppressor. So this says it hides muzzle flash and prevents gunfire from appearing on enemy minimaps, but reduces the range of of the weapon to toggle the suppressor on and off, you just press left on your D-pad, which I actually think is really cool. If you approach someone who you can see is way off in the distance, you can detach your suppressor to extend your weapon's range. If you know that you're close to a streak and you want to stay hidden and you don't have your suppressor on, you can just attach it and now you're hidden off the minimap. I actually really like the fact that you can attach and detach your suppressor in-game. The division training here is Pathfinder 3. This allows you to sprint for longer distances, increase sprint speed, and climb over obstacles faster. The italicized text on this says, outlasting the opposition on their territory requires extreme physical conditioning, which Pathfinder allows you to do apparently. Moving down to basic training, we have Smoked, which seems to allow you to get an extra piece of lethal equipment and attaches a smoke grenade as a tactical equipment. Shout out to the phone over here. Hide your advances, then blast the enemy into submission is what that italicized text states. Moving over to the weapon setup, the primary is the submachine gun M1928 with extended mags and a quick draw. Secondary is going to be the 1911 pistol with no attachments whatsoever. And then for the equipment, he has 2 Mark II frag grenades and an M18 smoke grenade to round up this division setup. The Airborne 2 division setup is focused around the MP40. We've got the division skill of suppressor on there. We already talked about that. Same with Pathfinder 3. The basic training, we have Phantom, which I would assume is pretty close to Dead Silence. It allows you to have quieter movement, take no fall damage, and you're invisible to enemy recon aircraft while moving. The italicized text on this says fall behind enemy lines without alerting hostiles. On this weapon setup, his primary is going to be the MP40 with quick draw and advanced rifling, and he's got the US shovel as a melee weapon for a secondary. His equipment is the N74ST sticky bomb, which is actually pretty interesting. We haven't seen that one yet. This is the division setup that I think I'm liking the most so far. Before we move into the armor division, I just want to say really quickly, if you guys are watching still at this point in the video, make sure you comment your Twitter handle in the comment section below and I'll give you a follow over there. Now, the armor division, this one is focusing all around the Lewis light machine gun. The division skill here is going to be the bipod, which says you can protect territory by mounting your machine gun, mount on ledges, and while prone for less recoil. All you need to do is press left on the D-pad for that, which I think is really cool. We saw a few clips during the multiplayer reveal trailer of the bipod in action. The division training here is Tanker 3. This says rocket launcher is added as a secondary weapon. You guys can see down in the setup there, he's got the M1 bazooka. You also get an extra piece of equipment, and you can throw equipment faster, further, and while sprinting. The italicized text on this says force the enemy out of their strongholds with explosive might. And then moving down to basic training, we have Loaded, which gives you extra magazines and you can reload weapons faster. So it's sort of like Scavenger Pro and Sleight of Hand Pro combined to make Loaded. The italicized text on this says suppressive fire requires a lot of ammunition, but you're prepared. And then moving over to the weapon setup, we got the LMG, the Lewis machine gun with weapon grip and full metal jacket. Like I mentioned earlier, the M1 bazooka and 2 N74ST sticky bombs. The second armor division setup is focused around the MG15. Once again, we got the bipod division skill and tanker division training. For basic training though, we have Scoped, which allows you to move faster while aiming down sights, and you get an extra attachment on your primary weapon. The italicized text on this one says confidence in your weapon means that you never let it leave your eye. And then moving over to his weapon setup, he's got the MG15 LMG with quick draw, weapon grip, and extended mags. He's got the Panzerschreck rocket launcher. I still don't think I'm saying that right, so we're gonna call it the Pancake rocket launcher. And then for his equipment, he's got 2 Tabone poisonous smoke grenades on there as well. Now we've got our first mountain division setup, which is focused around the M1903. Our division skill is going to be Sharpshooter, which says you can block out the surroundings and in return acquire aim assist and enemy names. Activated while holding breath with the left stick 3 or L3. Then for division training, we have Scout 3, which says you can acquire enemy names from farther away, you have increased minimap coverage, and you are hidden to player controlled streaks, so basically like cold-blooded. The italicized text on this says scout enemy territory and report critical intel that advances the war effort. Moving down to basic training, we have Undercover. This says you can kill without revealing enemy death locations, and you have no name or reticle color change when targeted. Shout out to the phone, V2. The italicized text on this says, keeping the enemy in constant fear, you strike when least expected. Moving over to the weapon setup, he's got the M1903 with ballistic calibration on there. He's also got the 1911 with no attachments, and he's got the Bouncing Betty pressure activated mine for his equipment. And I've just come to the realization that throughout throughout this entire video thus far, I have been referring to the owners of these class setups as male, so I've thoroughly upset a small portion of the internet, and I deeply apologize. Moving on to the Mountain Division number 2 setup, it's focused around the Kar 98K. We've got Sharpshooter and Scout 3 on there once again. We have our basic training for Forage. This allows you to swap weapons faster, throw equipment faster, and resupply ammo and equipment from dead bodies. So this is pretty much Scavenger, which I am a big fan of. This is probably what I'll be using. The italicized text on this says the latest supply shipment may never arrive, but that doesn't concern you. Moving over to the weapon setup, for our primary, we got the Kar 98K with the iron sight and extended mag, the M712 secondary pistol, and we've got the N74ST sticky bomb. Our next division is going to be Expeditionary. This one's focused around the Winchester 1897. Our division skill on this setup is going to be Incendiary Shells, the shotgun rounds which spark flames that burn enemies to death. To load these shells, press left on the D-pad. We saw a little clip of this during the multiplayer trailer as well. For division training, we've got Sapper 3, which has extra magazines. You are immune to shell shock and tactical equipment, and you take less explosive damage. The italicized text on this reads, midnight raids of ammo depots have left these soldiers well equipped to fight. And then moving down to basic training, we've got Ordnance, which says score streaks cost less and you can re-roll care packages. So this is definitely going to be a popular one. I can already feel it. The italicized text on this reads, being a favorite of high command certainly has its benefits. Moving over to the weapon setup, we have the Winchester 1897 shotgun with advanced rifling and extended mag. For our secondary, we have the US shovel, and our equipment is going to be an M18 smoke grenade. And we've come to our final division setup, Expeditionary 2. This one is focused around toggle action. We've got the Incendiary Shells, we've got Sapper 3. Moving down to basic training, we've got Duelist, which allows you to have 2 attachments on your secondary weapon. The italicized text on this one reads, few soldiers treasure their sidearm like you do. Moving over to our weapon setup, we've got the toggle action shotgun with quick draw and extended mag. We've got the M712 secondary pistol with high caliber and advanced rifling. And to finish it off, we've got the British N69 concussion grenade for our equipment. And that will wrap up all of these division loadouts. It was a little bit of a longer video, so if you made it all the way to this point, you are the real MVP. Leave a comment down below saying bananas, and be sure to leave your Twitter handle as well so I can give you guys a follow over there. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a big old thumbs up, and if you aren't already subscribed to the channel, make sure to do so and turn on those post notifications as well so you never miss another upload. I've been Zach, or Immortal. I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and of course, don't forget to smile because you are never gonna regret it. Peace out.